Hello, this is Faith at Faith and Books. I don't know, can you hear me over the water, the running water sound of the aquarium? Having aquariums around is like having those little fountains that are supposed to, calm you or whatever. And then you get fish too, though the light isn't on, so you can't really see any fish, can you? Anyway, so I feel like I've already done this maybe before, but I feel the need to organize all my reading. I've been doing spectacularly in terms of reading. I'm really in a good reading groove right now. And so I decided I wanted to talk about finishing up April and then my May plans. And I think I've already done this a little bit, but I just feel the need to do it again. So for April, since this is the last week of April and the last date, April 30th, is Thursday, that it means I have to really get moving on a couple of books that I'm going to focus on. I've been reading Pilgrim's Progress, and I'm enjoying it so much more than I thought I would. I'm up to page 141 in my edition, my old edition. It's a lot to digest in terms of just allegorical figure after allegorical figure, but it's written in a very simple, almost childlike manner, though old-fashioned language. It's thought-provoking, and I'm enjoying it. There's a couple of maybe not slightly, but he doesn't really focus on being anti-Catholic or anything. By and large, it's just Christian, but there are a couple of little jabs, but that's to be expected. I'm not going to hold it against him. So I'm enjoying this very much, and I'm enjoying reading it with Patrice Jones. We're going to try and finish it up and then have some discussion about it. We've discussed it a little bit. And I'm drinking green tea with honey per her suggestion, because I somehow, in spite of being really careful and quarantining myself, both my husband and I have come down with sore throats. I have some sort of little cold or something going on. Hopefully it's not the coronavirus. But, this has just been going on ever since quarantine started. Just there's one little niggling thing after another that's making me feel under the weather. I don't know if it's stress or maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sipping my green tea with honey. This is somebody's cup. It's not mine. I think it might be my daughter's. Yeah, because she must have brought it home from college when she had to come home. Anyway, good tea. So plans for the rest of April: finish up Pilgrim's Progress if I can. I don't know if I'll exactly make it by the 30th, but I'll really try. And the other thing is, it's on my Kindle, but I'm reading my Rose and Bloom for the Louisa May Alcott reading challenge. So I'm going to read that, and that's a pretty easy read. I'll be able to get it done, I'm sure. So those are the two things I'm really focusing on right now. Let's see, where do I put this? In there. Okay. And then I'm also really, really enjoying, where'd it go? Reading my classic spin, which is, it turned out to be Dante's Purgatory. And I'm still mainly reading Isolin's translation, which is very easy to read. It flows. It's really kind of simply elegant, not complicated, whereas Dorothy L. Sayers is kind of very academic, and I don't know. What happens is I read this and then I think, I wonder how she translated it. And so then I go and I read most of the same canto here, and then I even dug out the Longfellow translation, and I've been going to Longfellow. So each canto I pretty much read 3 times. Just enjoying the language and the translation, just seeing the difference. And I'm doing this very in a very relaxed way. So just whatever I feel like doing at any given time, I do. And so I'm reading a lot of the notes as a background and that sort of thing. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I never thought I would. I read The Inferno years ago, and I thought, sort of out of a sense of duty. I should read the rest. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And now I'm doing it. I don't know why I made such a big deal out of it. I'm really good at creating mental blocks for myself when none are necessary. And I did that with this. So I'm glad I'm finally getting to it. I'm really glad I'm finally getting to Pilgrim's Progress. That was a book that I was curious about for years and years. I'm finally getting to that. So that's great. So that's April, right? So it's Pilgrim's Progress, Rose and Bloom, and just casually continuing on with reading Purgatory because that's a June 1st deadline. I've been reading Centered. This is just so gorgeous. He writes so well. I have to read this is what I read this morning. This is from Bishop Barron's, I don't know if it's a book he wrote or an article. It must be a book, Bridging the Great Divide. And this is what he writes. This is under a section titled Unwavering Christocentrism. And the name of this quote is The Power Source. Christianity is, first and foremost, a religion of the concrete and not the abstract. It takes its power not from a general religious consciousness, not from an ethical conviction, not from a comfortable abstraction, but from the person Jesus Christ. It is Christ in his uncompromising call to repentance, his unforgettable gestures of healing, his unique and disturbing praxis of forgiveness, his provocative nonviolence, and especially his movement from God-forsakenness and death to shalom radiating resurrection that moves the believer to change of life and gift of self. Isn't that great? He's a great writer. I love this, reading this over my coffee in the morning. So I'm going to continue to read that through April and into May, just a little bit at a time. And then I finished that Daughter of Time by Josephine Tay, and I had a reaction to it. Like I just because I am such an anti-monarchist, it made me homesick for some American history, and I've been watching Bill Rutenberg's channel, and he's great on American history. And so I thought, I want to read something. So I went to my shelves, and I found this, David McCullough's John Adams. It's been sitting there for years. My husband read it years ago. It's been sitting there ever since. I've been wanting to read it. I love David McCullough. I don't know why I've put it off, but thank God for the a year of reading one's own, because I'm really oriented to just looking at my shelves and figuring out what I can read from there. So I started reading this. I love it. Oh my gosh, David McCullough is such a wonderful writer. And the neat thing about this book is I'm only on page 57. They've already talked about 3 different times when they've had pandemics come through. They had some sort of terrible dysentery they called the bloody flux. Ugh, it killed all these people. Even Abigail Adams was nursing her servant named Patty, who died of it. I think, did her mother die of it? So many people were dying of it. Then they had smallpox. The British, who had Boston under siege, let the Bostonians out because of smallpox. So they all went out into the country to separate, to quarantine. And then there was another flu that came through, and they were saying that 29 people in this town of 2,000 Braintree died of the flu that winter. So it sort of made me really connect with history, because, before that was all theoretical or abstract, because we don't really deal with this very much. I mean, we did get the swine flu, but it wasn't that bad. Now we're really dealing with something that's quite scary, and yet that, it's part of the human condition. The humans have been dealing with that all the time, and we're living in this little, stainless steel bubble or something, where we thought we were exempt, and it turns out we weren't. So I'm really enjoying this. I have to put it on hold, though, right now to finish up my April readings, Pilgrim's Progress and Rose and Bloom. So I'm putting that on hold, but I'm going to pick it back up in May. The same with Eagle Against the Sun, which I'm about 61% through. And it's still, I mean, it's really complicated. I don't know if I'm going to retain that much, but I'm enjoying going through it and really learning about what happened in the Pacific during World War II. I've been reading that at night because the little 4-year-old, his mother's working at night now because she's a necessary worker. They're building a huge data processing center, I think, for Facebook, and but they put them on separate shifts now, and she only has 25 people on her shift, but then they break them down into groups less than 10. And when she goes in, they take their temperature, and they got to wear masks and new gloves and all that stuff. So she's working at night, and the little 4-year-old doesn't like falling asleep by himself because before his mama was always there. So I stay in his room and I just read from my Kindle. So I've been reading the Eagle Against the Sun, but now I'm just going to switch to Rose and Bloom because I got to get that done. But that's what I've been doing in the evening. So I've had like this special time every evening to read for 10 or 20 minutes while he's falling asleep. So I've gotten a little bit further in that book, and I think I'll finish it. I mean, I'm taking my time, but I think I'll get it done. So anyway, but I'm putting that aside until the end of April, so I'll pick that up again in May. But I have lots of on my plate for May. So let me, where is it? Oh no, what did I do with it? Oh, here it is. Okay, first of all, reiterating again, Tarka the Otter. It's going to be my nature read. I'm going to start that on May 1st. And I've actually been doing research about otters in Virginia. They're making a comeback. I want to go find a park that might still be open and go look for otters. I don't know if I can do that or not. I think they're nocturnal, so I'm probably not going to drive far away to go to a place where there are otters and then drive back at night. I don't drive at night. Anyway, and I don't think they'd be open. But anyway, my dream is to one day see otters in the wild. That's what I want to do. I understand this is a dark book because people say it's sort of a metaphor for the First World War, which I'm okay with because even though it's kind of a scary, anxious time right now for us, it's good, I think. I don't know, it makes me feel a connection with other humans and the suffering that we all go through in various forms. So I'm really looking forward to starting that on May 1st. And also really looking forward to the May is for Magazines challenge. And I'm going to read McClure's magazine. I'm going to try and do 2 articles a week. But I'm also going to fit in, I forgot about these magazines. I have this crazy collection of this very small Catholic magazine from 1954 that was published by this apostolate, started by this woman, Dorothy Dohan. I think that's how you say it. And I actually found a book that she wrote. So she's kind of forgotten, but my aunt was really into her. So she wrote this book, and I was looking at it, and the introduction is by this guy, or the foreword is by this guy named Leo Tress. I'm not sure how you say his name. And I happen to have a book by him, the same guy. Here he is, Leo Tress. And I got this book because I did take a couple of theology classes online, and this was one of the books recommended. So, and to tell you the truth, I think it was an extra book, and I don't think I read much in it. If I did, just a couple of chapters. But this is a really nicely made book, too. Like, the cover's really nice, and the paper feels really good. It's Scepter Press. I don't know who puts it out, but anyway, this is by the same guy. So it's just coincidental when I saw that he had written the foreword to this. I was like, wait a second, I've heard that name before. And sure enough, I had a book by him. That's pretty cool. So I think it would be a real blast from the past to go and read these almost self-published magazines from 1954, written by this woman. Be neat to find out about her. So that's part of my May. May is for magazines. And then for the maybe Midrash, I'm sort of just doing it loosely. I've actually started to read this. This is a commentary on Romans and Galatians, and it's put out by the University of Navarre. they have a whole slew of these books, and it's been translated. Let's see, where's the, oh look, they have nice maps. Tell you all of Paul's journeys. So this was copyright, okay, where's the translator? Okay, well anyway, it's in translation. So the originally comes out in Spanish, but it's pretty neat. You know, it's got like a little bit of the text, the actual epistle, and then commentary underneath. So I've started reading this. It's got a very in-depth kind of biography of Paul in the beginning. So it's very, very in-depth. So I'm going to read that as my nonfiction. I don't know if that's considered nonfiction, but it's commentary and then the actual epistles. I mean, they're not fictional, right? So, so this is going to be my nonfiction. And then for my fiction, I said this before, I'm going to read The Master and Margarita. And then I also really want to read Till We Have Faces. So I'm going to go for those two things. Plus I have to read, at the end of the month, I'll read whatever the book is that is part of the Louise May Alcott Challenge. I forget now what it is. So that is it. Those are my plans. I've managed to talk for 16 and a half minutes, so I better shut up now. I hope you're feeling better. You would never know it, but I actually do have a sore throat. Anyway, I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.